Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Market Views. Today, it's me, Yuchwan, joined with Zenzi and Rufaro. Start off our show, the main topic I'm going to discuss today is the real estate investment trust, which are said to be introduced on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange later this year. I think to start off our discussion, the main question we have is, what are the real estate investment trusts? Rufaro can just give us a highlight of what these are.
Thank you, Hilton. So I'm not going to give a textbook definition of what REITs are, but I'm going to put it this way. So Hilton, let's say you've inherited a building, let's call it Joiner City, from your uncle. If you are not going to stay there, or you are not going to have your offices there, you're probably going to rent it out.
Yes.
So, which means what you want is not necessarily the building, but what you can get out of the building. So basing on that concept, anyone with any amount can invest in real estate. They can get exposure in real estate. So I think that's where the whole idea of real estate investment trusts come from. We are pulling together funds, then we are investing them in real estate, then we cut them into pieces, then as units, list them on an exchange, so that anyone can get exposure into real estate. So I think that's what REITs are. Interesting times on the stock market. Looking forward to seeing them.
Yes, thank you. I think from what Rufaro has highlighted about this investment trust, it's said exposure to the investment industry. The main question we're going to ask is, what is the difference of this investment trust and someone who gets into a position in a counter like Mashonaland Holdings, which has quite a lot of properties? What's the difference from this investment trust and the position in a real estate or property company?
Thank you, Yuto. So currently at the moment we have two counters which are exposed to the real estate asset class, which is FMP and MASH. So the key difference between REITs and investing in a company, and actually it's in the way that these two functional units, these two investing products are different. So with REITs, they're supposed to declare an 80% dividend. Yes. Based on the income generated, in terms of the net profit, 80% of it is supposed to be declared to, which is unlike listed counters, where at times it's on the discretion of the management in terms of declaring dividend. And moving on, the other key difference is REITs are also said to be that they're going to have a prescribed asset status, where currently, if you invest for pension funds, if they invest in those two listed counters, they are still being considered as listed counters, not real estate exposure. Mm-hmm. So with REITs coming in, they are actually going to have a prescribed asset status, where they are actually going to be a property business, where in terms of when pension funds are going to submit in terms of what are their requirements in terms of the SI which they operate in terms of. With REITs now, there will be property, there will be real estate asset classes. Right. So that's one. Those are like two key differences which are there, and those are the two key differences which are there.
Okay, I think now that we know what these investment trusts are, Rufaro, can you just highlight on the benefits of these investment trusts to the investor, to the property owner, and to the market at large?
Okay, so real estate investment trusts, they can be two. They can be greenfields or brownfields. Greenfields, meaning we are pulling together resources, then we actually invest. Then for brownfields, we already have the infrastructure, so investors are investing in something that is already there. Yes. So looking at the advantages, Hilton, you realize that in terms of the greenfield, where there's going to be development. Yes. Development is going to come. We can argue about to what extent development is going to happen, but certainly there's going to be development depending on the excitement in the market. Yes. And you can also realize that the ZSE had been for some time now boring. We only had equities, then a bit of debt. There was some time when bonds were listed, but with the introduction of ETFs, REITs, it shakes up the market and there's more excitement. So you realize that as you invest in real estate investment trusts, you are bringing more activity into the market, and the market is becoming excitement. So from whichever part you try to look at it, from the capital markets perspective or from the part of real estate market participants, I think there are benefits that you can see from the introduction of such products.
Also adding a little, one or two more benefits. It actually brings in a divisibility of real estate. As you know, real estate is actually a very capital intensive game where some buildings actually cost more than 50 million, which some pension funds and some other individual investors can't afford. So with REITs now, REITs, they actually bring in, you are buying in a building which is worth 50 million, you're buying in shares for $2, $2, $3, which actually brings in your exposure to those asset class. And it also brings liquidity in terms of selling. When you want to sell a position in a REIT, it's actually very easy, it's listed, than selling a building. So those are also some of the key benefits which REITs are going to bring into the market.
All right. Just to add on as from what you're saying, can you just give us how these rates will affect us, or maybe just explain them in Zimbabwean context of this investment trust?
So bringing this to Zimbabwean context, we are going to have different type of REITs that are going to have, and due to the SI that was issued in 2019, we are going to have a pension fund. They are going to be allowed to have brownfield investments, which was actually explained, and the other greenfield are going. The rest of the investors are going to be allowed to have greenfield. So in terms of Zimbabwean context, we are going to have very much exciting. There are going to be exciting times ahead, and we have since hearing insurance company not having many variegated products to invest. They are in foreign currency, so they can actually now use to VFX. This being listed as the VFX in the foreign currency, so we can now invest their proceeds in terms of being able to service their obligations which they will be having. So in terms of Zimbabwean context, that's going to be very exciting times. Also, it's also going to solve some of the long-standing problems that we had. As you have known, Harare has a backlog of houses, which is 1.6 million, and REITs we're actually going to have residential REITs, which are focused on residential houses, which can solve that problem. Also, the problem that we have had, people, diasporan families, we are sending money back home to send their sekuru, their mzukuru to build houses for them, whereas those people are actually lambasting their money that they were supposed to use, so they can actually now invest into REITs, and also solving the problem of title deeds. We have had many people being prejudiced by land barons, not developing or selling out stands which don't have title deeds. So in REITs, we are saying that most companies that are going to develop REITs, they are going to have a very good due diligence process where they can actually now say the verification of title deeds. The ZSC is going to look into those, and so in terms of investor protection, in terms of when you ever want to build a house or whenever you want to have a house exposure in Zimbabwe, you can actually buy into it. It's actually a very good asset class.
Right. Thank you. I think from what we have all heard from these real estate investment trusts, what they are, how they benefit us as investors, individuals in the market. The next question for an investor is what are the risks or disadvantages that these might bring to you as an investor, as a corporate, or whoever who wants to invest in these trusts. So Rufaro, just give us a highlight of the risk which we should be entering into as we invest in these trusts.
Thank you. So Zenzi seems so excited about real investment trusts. Yeah, they're exciting, but yeah, I will have to play the devil's advocate here and try to ask pertinent questions in terms of the risk and the disadvantages, or highlight rather. So the first one, it's a disadvantage. There's something which we call in finance convenience yield. So I oversimplified when I tried to explain real estate investment trusts in the first segment. But by actually owning Joiner City, there is that satisfaction that you have, that somebody who replicates it by just having cash flows that come out of that building doesn't have. So the issue of convenience yield, I actually want a house for the fact that I have a house, not just the rental payments. Okay. So for somebody who wants to actually invest in real estate, they don't have that convenience yield. Then the second thing is that you are investing in real estate, meaning if anything happens to, be it the housing bubble or the COVID-19 pandemic, if it shakes the real estate market, you're on fire. So these are some of the disadvantages that and the risks that you have to be aware of If you look, I was checking the REITs on the JSE. They were down about 40% when the COVID-19 pandemic took place, because people were now working from home. Imagine you'll be invested in a REIT that is focused on commercial, that is your office properties, and people are now working from home. They are moving away from that. So there is that risk that you should be aware of.
Yes. Thank you. And just to close, Zens, just give us what should we expect when these investment trusts are listed here in Zimbabwe, and what can you anticipate from this?
So for me, I don't agree to people who are advocating for that therefore, and I'm very much optimistic about the future that's coming. And my first expectation is we actually have got a REIT that's coming up, the NRZ, the Revictus REIT from NRZ, which is actually going to come soon. So in my opinion, REITs are going to be the game changer in town, and in solving some of the problems that we have faced. And with the greenfields in REITs that are going to come, we are going to see employment creation, and it's going also to cause some of the listed counters, Masimba, Pro Plastics, Unpacking, those which are exposed to construction, they are actually going to benefit from the increased activity which is going to happen due to REITs being listed. What I'm also expecting is solving some of the problems. We know the rental houses in Zimbabwe. We believe that the rental charges that are there in Zimbabwe are actually very high due to limited supply of residential properties which are there. So these are also going to solve that part where we are going to have a knockdown in terms of our rental fees that you are paying, as you have seen. The also other thing that I also expect with REITs is many more buildings, high-rise buildings. Harare has been growing horizontally. Yes. So with REITs coming in, we anticipate that we are now going to have residential houses and more townhouses, which are 17, 30 floor buildings being constructed locally. So with REITs, since they are collective investment schemes, it now means in terms of diversification of risk as well, investors can now be able to diversify risk, as you can now pull in resources using different funds from different people, and it's exciting times ahead. And I believe that REITs are going to solve some of the key problems that we have faced as investors.
Thank you. Just to add on what Fonji said, the benefits, the risks we've had from this investment trust, and think to add on to the risk Rufaro highlighted of any markets market activities that might affect your investment trust. For example, the COVID pandemic is highlighted. Another benefit you can highlight from what Senzo was insinuating is that you can now, with your 20 million, instead of buying one property which is commercial based, you can split your risk into investment trust that's in residential storage and diversify with that same amount, and still in the same space, which is a property. If you're into the real estate, you can add on to what you want to say.
But Zenzi is very bullish. I want to ask this to Zenzi. So if you're in Zimbabwe and you are getting exposure in real estate, to be quite honest, for you to buy a property in Zimbabwe, you have to buy it in USD, and you expect to get your return in USD.
Yes.
How will it work when REITs are going to be listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? That's ZWL denominated. And probably the final question is, the property market in Zimbabwe is overvalued. If you want a nice property in Borodale, we're talking about the 350 going up $1,000 US. But in South Africa, you can get a more beautiful property for less. So considering that the property market for Zimbabwe is a little bit expensive, how is it going to work with this?
So thank you, Faro. I think you actually helped me in terms of answering why it's actually very good. You mentioned how you can generate income in terms of, since they're listed on the ZSE. Some can be listed on the ZSE. So with the goodness of our market currently, we have a foreign currency bourse and the one listed in local bourse. And the one, if you are now having that the foreign currency bourse, you can actually use your foreign currency and list it on the VFX. And the one which I'm thinking for, which is mainly the brownfield investment, the pension funds, those are the ones that I'm anticipating to list on the ZSE. And in terms of generating, currently you can still be able to buy to buy your chicken in using US dollars and RTGS. So due to that legislation, also the REITs, they can actually now be able to generate foreign currency using that SI which was stated. Also, the question that we've asked in terms of the overvaluation of real estate as an asset class, why the properties are actually overvalued. It actually shows one of the appetite that the market is actually very much appetite in terms of investing in real estate, which this can actually solve some of the problems, because you also mentioned 2 million, that houses are 200,000, 250. So it now means there are also some people who will now have 10,000 who can now invest in the real estate class. Because that it's on the backdrop that in terms of real estate is one of the performing classes which has actually managed to perform far above the inflation which has existed. So people are actually preserving their hard-earned currency, and due to lack of the variegated investment products in our market, risk can actually solve that. And also people are also investing in terms of, so that when they are now 80s, when they're now in the pension years, they can actually now have an income. So with REITs now, imagine that now that a 19-year-old going to visit, inspecting their houses, you have 7, 8 houses, you're inspecting your own, you can't still have that energy to do that. But now with REITs, you now have got a professional asset manager, there's a professional real estate company that's managing that property. So it actually solves some of the problems which people who have invested in real estate for their retirement period, they can now invest in REITs to solve some of the standing problems.
I think just like any investment, there are advantages and disadvantages, and also these risks we will face. So we all wait and see what these investment trusts will be like on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and those that will be listed on the Victoria Falls Exchange. Thank you for joining us today. See you next time.